Opioids aren't the problem, are they? Join me as I dive into the controversial topic of opioids and challenge the common belief that they are the main problem. Can I change your mind? Opioids have become synonymous with addiction, overdoses, and tragic stories of loss. We often hear about the devastating impact they have on individuals, families, and communities. But is it really that simple? Or is there more to the story? Many of us have been led to believe that opioids are inherently dangerous, that they are the root problem, and that if we could just get rid of them, the addiction crisis would disappear. But what if I told you that that was not entirely accurate? But what if I told you that the truth is far more complex and that opioids are merely a symptom of a much larger issue? The narrative that opioids are the culprit has been perpetuated by the media, politicians, and even some medical professionals. We're constantly being fed statistics about the dangers of opioids, the number of overdoses, and the devastating impact that they have on society. But rarely do we stop to think, why are people becoming addicted to opioids in the first place? We are not asking the important questions, like why are people turning to opioids in such large numbers? What are the underlying issues that are driving this addiction crisis? And what role does social, economic, and healthcare factors play in all of this? When we start to dig deep, we realize that opioid addiction is often a symptom of deeper issues. Many people struggling with addiction are also dealing with poverty, lack of education, unemployment, and a sense of hopelessness. They may have been prescribed opiates by a doctor for a legitimate condition, only to find themselves dependent on the opioid. And others may have turned to illegal opioids as a way to escape trauma, anxiety, or depression that comes with living in a society that often prioritizes productivity over people. We need to acknowledge that the opioid crisis is not just a healthcare issue, but a social and an economic one. We need to recognize that the overprescription of opioids by doctors, the aggressive marketing tactics of pharmaceutical companies, and the lack of access to alternative treatments are all contributing factors to this crisis. And we need to start holding this systemic issues accountable rather than just blaming the opioids themselves. One key insight that shifts the blame from the drug to the systemic issue is the role of prescription practices. Did you know that in the 1990s, pharmaceutical companies launched a massive campaign to convince doctors that opioids were safe and effective treatment for chronic pain? They downplayed the risk of addiction, and as a result, doctor prescribing these opioids like candy. We cannot just blame the individuals who became addicted. We need to look at the societal pressure that led to this crisis. We need to realize that the problem does not lie with the opioids themselves, but that the systematic failures that allowed this crisis to unfold. And now we're on the other side of the coin. Imagine this. Before 2016, CD you know who decided to change their guidelines on the opioid MME. Now imagine, back you were in excruciating pain and you could get all the opioids that you wanted or needed, because back then there wasn't really an MME limit. And then all of a sudden, bam, it's like you're hit with a truck. Now all of a sudden you're in excruciating pain for the rest of your life, and now you're down to a 90 MME, a number that they decided was a one size fits all. And now, not only is it a 90 MME morphine equivalent, but now they want to go opioid free America? People are literally unaliving because of the situation. People are having surgeries, massive surgeries, and being sent home with Tylenol. This has to stop now. Stop the opioid eradication. And we need to bring the MME limit back up to a better number. A number that actually helps the pain. Because everybody is different. Everybody is going to need a different limit. Because right now, people are suffering. People of all walks of life. Mine, with all my fusion herniated disc, people with cancer, the list goes on and on and on. We need to fight. We need to get the word out, and we need to fight. Yes, the opioid crisis is a complex issue, but it's more contributing factors. This cannot just be reduced to a simple narrative of opioids bad, people addicted. We need to look deeper to examine the social, economic, and healthcare related factors that are driving this crisis. We need to shift the blame from the opioid to the systematic issues. We need to fight for our right to opioid medication, and we need to fight to get the number up. It is not enough. The fight for opioid access is a critical battle that we must continue. Patients' lives depend on our ability to raise awareness and advocate for responsible, balanced policies. I hope this video has inspired you to join the conversation and demand change. Have a good one, guys.